Okay.
Think about these words all day long. We say in Zmiros and Shabbos. When we came into, we're going to be learning about tonight as well. That when we came into this bris, into this covenant of these two words, which have really paved the way for everything that we're doing. Meaning that you couldn't say Nasa v'nishma unless you felt like everyone else was saying Nasa v'nishma too. Baruch hanais and liav koyach, meaning that when do you feel tired? You feel tired when you feel like you're working alone in this world. It's usually when you feel very tired. But when you feel that you're part of some bigger rhythm, and you're part of something much bigger taking place, there's some kind of koyach that you get, and I feel like it's so important right now for all the lonely neshamas in the world, which is basically all of us, and whoever's listening, because if you're not lonely, you're not really going to starve for Reb Shlomo's Torah. So all the lonely chaverim, all the lonely yedidim in the world should remember that Nas v'nishma amru ke'echad. So I've been thinking about these words all day long. So I don't know, we'll try it one more time. Okay. Try it one more time. Okay, let's see where it goes. Just listen one time to the words. Amen. Amen. This 1 second separate with the words, if you don't mind. I want to make sure we get it. ופוסקו ויונו השם אחד ברוך הנעשה ליריב כל יום וברוך כולם איבריס יחד נעשה ונשמע מלוקייך פוסל ויונו אשר מאחד ברוך הנויסן ליאהב קויה נעשה ונשמע מלוקייך נעשה ונשמע מלוקייך אוי נעשה ונשמע מלוקייך אוי נעשה ונשמע מלוקייך אוי נעשה ונשמע מלוקייך נעשה ונשמע מלוקייך אוי יבוא בכל בגזירך נעשה ונשמע מלוקייך ופסו בידו אשר מאחד ברוך הנויסן ליאהב קויה לה 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 Thank you for your patience, Leva. I'm sorry. It's like a juke in you that you can't. Huh? All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out tonight. Remind me again your Abba's name?
Yaakov Chaim ben Sila Liba.
Yaakov Chaim ben Sila Liba. The learning tonight should be for his refuah Shlomo. And unfortunately, it should also be Ilui Nishmasa, another precious flower, a 19-year-old Bas Yisrael, who was protecting Yidden a few minutes away from here, who just succumbed to her wounds about 2 hours ago. I don't even know I don't know what her father's name is. Hadar, her name was. These surreal times that we're living in right now, we have to really make sure that we keep our eyes and ears focused, that you could be showing up to any shir in the world. You could be preparing to attend whatever it is you were excited about, not excited about, but you're forced to do, or you're not forced to do. If right now we don't hear Jewish blood screaming to us, not whispering, screaming to us, you didn't wake up, then none of the Torah we're learning goes anywhere. Maybe it just goes into this really nice tree, which is called Eitz Hadas, which we already know how messed up we've gotten from that place. But there's Jewish blood in every corner. I'm sure right here, where we're sitting here right now, Jewish blood was spilled so that we could be sitting here learning Torah in Yerushalayim HaKadosh. Must be very, 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 we have to be very conscious and aware of the fact that a family is destroyed forever, ad bias go, until Mashiach comes. There was a family that woke up this morning, they were more or less fine. There's a family that in the last 2 hours, their lives are ruined forever. And we have to know that the only nechama that a family like this could have is only one thing. I hate to say this. It's not dafka, even though, trust me, you don't have to convince me. I live out there in Palestine, meaning you have to, it's not just about building more settlements, that's of course, but until each Yidla screams Ad Masai, Ad Matai, until Mashiach becomes a very real cry, real kvetch, these families don't have any nechama, nothing. Yesterday I had to go into the Bituach Leumi building, the Social Security building. and it's not exactly an entertaining, positive experience. And I walked in and I saw right when you walk inside, there's a big plaque that says this ulam, this hall is dedicated in memory of Eish Kodesh Gilmore, our friend from Moshe Modi'in, who was killed, shot point blank. His lives, his family, this is already, 13 years ago, Kodesh was killed, maybe even more, probably 14, 15 years ago. These things are they're not wounds, they're scars. And the only way to remove the scar is Mashiach. It's not any other, there's nothing else. There's no middle game here. So let's be very conscious that tonight we're going to be learning about two words, like we've mentioned before. We're going to be learning about the words Nasav and Nishma. But if we don't understand why we're learning about Nasav and Nishma, then it's kind of like showing up to a shir on theology, on Jewish theology or something. It's Chaim Hillel Machzikim, but okay, you want to just be alive, or you want to be supporting this, you want to be a supportive thing in your life. So it's not the first time we've met here. It's very interesting. I remember, unfortunately, in the last 10 years, 12 years, so many evenings we've had here where we're coming off of horrible events. I remember, was it last summer or the summer before, I had to keep on stopping shir because there was another attack alert. I had to make sure I didn't have to jump in the car and run home. This is not a normal tkufa. It's not a normal matzav. Our children and grandchildren are gonna ask us, just like they asked now the world. They said, "World, where were you in 1942?" Right? So our children, grandchildren are gonna ask us, "Where were you when that 19-year-old flower was taken? Where were you when? What did you do when the mother in Otniel was shechted? What did you do? What are you going to tell them?" So prepare right now for what you're going to tell your children. It's a very, very, very non-complicated times. It's not so complicated. Ohavi Hashem Sinura, there's a concept that's called evil. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchever says, Ohavi Hashem, if you love Hashem, the automatic conclusion you come to is that you hate evil. It's not a deep cheshbon, chevra. It's very, very clear. There are human beings, and then there are human beings that act like animals. It's a very clear thing over here. Very clear. We stood by Har Sinai and said Nasav v'Nishma so that we could teach the world what it means to be a Ben Enosh, to be created in God's image. This is what we're here for. So tonight, the Torah we're learning should instill within us not just the confidence, but the bitachon, that we have what to share with the world. As long as we rid ourselves of avodah zara, obviously I'm not talking about statues, talking about the avodah zara of needing to be politically correct. It's an avodah zara. It's like a pesa that we should shecht in our hearts and our souls, that we could finally understand and know, what do I have to share with the world? What do I have to share with the world? Human beings were meant to be human beings, not animals. Pashut. Don't get, they say in Breslov, Al titbalbel. Don't get confused. You get confused about a million things. Don't get confused right now. Don't get confused about other sipurim. Jews are being killed every day in Eretz Yisrael right now. I don't know if you saw it, because it's not where you live, but where I live, the Tzfoni entrance, northern Erev Shabbos, right before Shabbos, half hour before Shabbos, 3 minutes from where I live. So, Nasav v'Nishma on Lokechem. Ve'ela Mishpatim asher tosim lifneim. I'm sure it's clear to all of us by now that if we don't try much harder and work much deeper on ourselves to internalize the point and the purpose of that pasuk, V'atem tiyu mamleches kohanim begoy kodesh, we can't continue. We were told that the whole point of receiving the Torah was to become a kingdom of priests. Not that you should all become like me because I'm a kohen. That's not what it means. There's an inyan of being kings. There's an inyan of being priests. A king wears a crown. There is a concept of keter. You know how you know who's like whoever gets into like New Age, whoever gets a little bit into Kabbalah, into spheres. So you know if they know how to say, like they don't know any Hebrew, but they know like you could say the words keter, ze'er anpin, or malchut, or you know they've been hanging around some Kabbalah shit. Like what's keter? And the sphere is keter, this place called crown. Where is a crown placed on a person that's worthy of it? Above his moach, above his intellect. I walk around thinking I can govern the world because of all that which I've accumulated over here. A crown is put on a person who understands that anything which he might have here is simply a gift from Hashem. And then the crown is put above that place. Keter is above any intellect hasaga. The highest place in the world. So tonight, what we're going to be, it's already so that we didn't even start anything. Oh, we did. Tonight, what we're going to be trying to really mechaven to, hopefully, Hashem Yisbarach, it should be an Es Ratzon right now. The gate should be open that we can take this Wednesday night and charge through till Shabbos. I'm just charging through like humble, holy warriors to attempt to understand what did we mean, why did we say what we said when we received the Torah? Or before we received the Torah, it's all machlokas. When was this parsha said of that when Moshe Rabbeinu came to Am Yisrael and he brought everything before them, the whole Nasa v'Nishma response, when did that happen? Machlokas, whether it was before Matan Torah, after Matan Torah. It is relevant for tonight. I'm going to have to not focus on that tonight. There'll hopefully be another shir on that. But what we're going to see right now through a mind-blowing Torah, a short teaching from Reb Shlomo, very, very short. But to understand what does the Gemara mean when it says to us, what do Chazal mean when they say to us, B'sha'a shehidimu na'aseh lin nishma, that at the moment when we first said Naaseh and then we said Nishma, all the angels came and placed crowns on each of our heads. What was it about saying Naaseh and Nishma which made us worthy of a crown, which made us worthy of reaching this exalted place we just attempted to describe? So we're going to try to do this. It's going to be a little bit different than how we usually do it. We have to look at, I doubt there's enough pages here, which is a good thing. That means Hashem, there's a nice oil here, but it's back and forth. We're going to try to see something and go right into the Shlomo, and if we have time, we have an absolute, an atomic explosion of a Mashilach in the back of the page. I don't know if we're going to get there, though. I also want the shir to be Leilui Nishmas Michal Moshe Ze'ev ben Nassim B'Yehudit, and also for the Refuah Shlema, a friend of mine, old friend of mine, David Coleman, his son, his 3-year-old son, Avram Moshe ben Gila. I think his name, Avram Moshe ben Gila. It's a big Refuah Shlema. Big Refuah Shlema. And please insert any name that you have also for the Refuah Shlema.
Halel Tehila But
my sister has this chus of taking care. My sister's a nurse in the Pagia. However, did it reach the back? Little bit? Okay. Now, all right, Chavra, please leave absolutely everything, anything that doesn't belong, that's getting in the way of your mind and your heart right now. Try somehow to do some kind of hocus pocus and send it out of the room right now. And please have in mind Am Yisrael right now while we're learning, okay? Have in mind Am Yisrael. And please, Chavra, if you could just focus on the text right now. Let's look in Chumash right now. In our parsha it says like this in Shmos Perek Chaf. Ve'el Moshe amar ale el Hashem ata ve'Aaron Nadav ve'Avihu. Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, go up to Hashem. You, Aaron, Nadav, and Avihu, v'shivim miziknei Yisrael, and the 70 elders, v'ishtachavisa me'rachok, you bow down from afar. V'nigash Moshe levado el Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu goes alone up there. V'hem lo yigashu. But the others that were mentioned here, they don't go up. They are mishtachavim. They bow down from far. V'am lo ya'alu imo. And of course, the Am is not going up there either. Now here's where it gets very interesting. Vayavo Moshe comes back down. Vayisaper la'am et kol divrei Hashem. He tells over to the Am all the words of Hashem. Ve'et kol mishpatim, which is our parsha, right? All the mishpatim. Interesting in English. How do you say mishpat?
Sentence.
Or judgment, but you realize that I never realized until this week sentence means judgment, meaning you're sentenced. But it means both in Hebrew. Mishpat also in Hebrew is a sentence and the sentence. You hear? It's a very interesting thing. So he comes, Ve'es kol mishpatim, Vayan kol ha'am kol echad. And how does Am Yisrael answer? After Moshe tells them all the words of Hashem, all mishpatim, Vayomru, kol asher diber Hashem naaseh. Wait a second, what's missing? Everyone knows? The Nishma is missing so far. Just naaseh. Vayichtov Moshe, next pasuk in Dalet is kol divrei Hashem. I'm sorry, which words?
From the call Hashem, you didn't translate.
Vayan kol ha'am kol echad. They all answer back in one voice. Vayamru kol hadvarim asher diber Hashem naaseh. All the things which Hashem we just heard, that we will do. Naaseh. What was missing? The nishma, and we will hear. That's not the end of the story, because we know we just gave a whole shmuz on Naaseh and Nishma, right? Vayichtov Moshe is called Divrei Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu writes now all the words of Hashem. Vayashkem baboker, he gets up in the morning. Vayiben mizbeach tachas ha'ar, a little down there in Mount Sinai, builds an altar. Ushtemesrei matzeva, and he has monuments. Lishnei masar shiftei Yisrael, a monument for each of the tribes. And then we continue. Vayikach. Now we skip 2 psukim for our relevance. Vayikach sefer habris. He takes this book of covenant. Now, it must mean that he takes a book which he just wrote a few psukim before, right? Vayikach sefer habris. Vayikra beoznei ha'am. And now he reads into the ears of Am Yisrael. Kol asher vayomru. And this time, what do they all say? Kol asher diber Hashem. Naaseh v'nishma. The famous shaila is what changed? What happened? What transpired between the first few psukim and the last few psukim? In the beginning, all they said was Naaseh, but that we knew that wasn't enough to receive the Torah. Naaseh, only later, Naaseh v'nishma. Why did suddenly over here, now they're saying both we will do and we will listen. So to understand a pshat here, go to Rashi. Pasuk Gimel, when it says that Moshe came and he told Am Yisrael, Kol Divrei Hashem. What are the words of Hashem that he told Am Yisrael in the beginning? Mitzvahs Prisha v'Hakbala. Remember, there's the whole inyan of 3 days prior to Kabbalah Torah, Shloshes Yemei Hakbala. The 3 days of the boundaries of Prisha, of setting yourself aside, of removing yourself from certain things. You can't get too close to the mountain. You can't get too close to each other. There's all these different boundaries that were put between each other. That's what, according to Rashi, what was told to Am Yisrael in the beginning. Ve'es kol ha'mishpatim, it says also that he said all the mishpatim. What does that mean? Sheva mitzvos shenitztavu b'nei Noach. So he said over to them the 7 Noachide laws. And what else? The Shabbos, talking about Shabbos. Kibud av va'em, honoring your parents. Upara aduma, and the red heifer. V'dinim shenitztavu lehem b'mara, and basically the laws which were already taught them where? In Mara. And again, not going into that, but all we know is that this wasn't enough for Am Yisrael to say those 2 words, Naaseh and Nishma. This was enough for people to say, Naaseh. Okay, we'll accept it, meaning we'll do it. whatever you say. But then the next pasuk it says, Vayichtov Moshe. So is Moshe Rabbeinu writing down that which he just told them? Rashi says no, something else. Vayichtov Moshe mi bereishis ve'ad matan Torah. The chasav mitzvahs shenitzavnu Mara. Yes, he put the mitzvahs they were told already in Mara to do, in a place called Mara. But really now, Moshe Rabbeinu sees, based on what I told them right now, they're just saying nasa. I have to tell them the whole story of what happened from the creation of the universe, of the world, until right now. Meaning what, according to Rashi? What did Moshe Rabbeinu tell Am Yisrael? There was a guy named Avram. There was Yitzchak, Yerzedi Yaakov. There's a lot of different wild stuff going on. The whole story, there was Abimelech, there were Plishtim. There was a place called Gerar. Everything that we have in the Torah, from Bereshis until Matan Torah, that's what Rashi says. Now, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I got to give them over the story. Where did we see, by the way, recently, that when someone gives over a story to somebody, their hearts become so much more filled than what it was before? Yitro. Remember, Moshe Rabbeinu sits with him, he tells him, he tells Yitro the whole story. What's Yitro's response after hearing basically what he just wrote right now? Vayichad Yitro, right? There's this inyan of everything became one to him. Or like Rashi says, Basar Chadudim, he got goosebumps when you heard the whole story. Something changed. When you're just given instructions of this is what it means, all you do is you say, okay, this is what we're supposed to keep. But when someone tells you, listen, this is what you're supposed to keep, but do you know what we went through until this moment of you being given instructions? Nasa v'nishma is my response to that one. Rashi continues there in Pasuk Zayin. What is this Sefer HaBris? So what is this book of covenant, which he then brings to the Am, which caused the Am to say Nasa v'nishma? Mi bereshis ve'ad matan Torah mitzvot shnitztav namar. And Moshe Rabbeinu stops for a second and he says, you know what I need to tell them? I need to give them over the whole story. If I want their Kabbalah Torah, their receiving of the Torah, to be something which is Kayam La'ol Me'ad. We can go a million directions with the Rashi that we just learned, but this was a perfect, I hope, Be'ezer Hashem, this was really perfect. What's perfect? It was a mechuvan. It was a directed hachana, preparation, to hear Reb Shlomo's words about this awesome moment when the angels came and brought down crowns on people. And everyone knows I think it was the Rebbe Rashab. He has in Ayin Beis. Shalom, are you here? I think he's upstairs. Ayin Beis. Any token Lubavitcher in the room? No, Ayin Beis, I think the Hemshech Ayin Beis, the Rebbe Rashab is the fifth Rebbe in Lubavitch. He's the father of the previous Rebbe, Reb Shalom Dov Ber. He passed away in 1920, I believe, and he was Rebbe from I think for a long time. He was Rebbe. He was born. He didn't live that long actually. But anyway, he's the one that set up the whole yeshiva of Tomchei Tnimim. The Rebbe Rashab. We have so many stories about him. So many magnificent stories. The Rebbe Rashab, as a whole, he starts one of his svarim, B'Sha'ah She'Yigdimu, meaning a whole discourse on the words B'Sha'ah She'Yigdimu, that the moment that Am Yisrael said Nasa and then they said Nishma, then Chazal tell us crowns were put on each person's head. By the way, the whole point of tonight is that we walk out of here with a crown. I'm being very serious. I'm not telling you stories right now. This is the point is to walk out of here with a crown on our heads and what that means. The Rebbe Rashab has a 1,500-page discourse just on this Chazal. So we could give it a few minutes of really kishka learning right now. Look how Reb Shlomo says this. This is unbelievable. The Talmud says in Tractate Shabbos, look inside everyone, that when we were on Mount Sinai and we said Nasa v'nishma, angels came and placed crowns on our heads. What are crowns all about? I want you to know, Mount Sinai knowledge is not book knowledge. Mount Sinai knowledge is crown knowledge. Okay, so based on what we said before, you could already see the difference. Book knowledge, there's no room for a crown because it's whatever I chopped through here. Crown knowledge, it's above where book knowledge could reach, where information knowledge could reach. You see, Moshe Rabbeinu gave us a lot of information. We said Nasa. No angel jumped out of Shemaim and put a crown on anybody's head. Moshe Rabbeinu then tells us a whole story. And then we say Nasa v'nishma. Then angels come placing crowns. What's crown knowledge? Rabbi Shlomo says in his magnificent way over here, I could go to a psychiatrist and share everything which ever happened to me in order for the doctor to get to know me. But with someone you love, everything that happened to me is on the level of the crown. How do you know if it's crown knowledge or mind knowledge? It's very simple. When it comes to crown knowledge, pay attention here. This is key, this line over here. When it comes to crown knowledge, even after you know what you just learned about, it becomes such a deep mystery. After you know something based on mind knowledge, nothing happens, nothing grows. Okay, if you one second, hold on to it. Okay, and just please, just 1 second. A person can say, "I know that this person loves me." If it does absolutely nothing to me, and I just know that they love me, it's not crown knowledge. It's mind knowledge. I know that this person loves me. We should all be privileged to feel real emes love in the world. Should be love ben adam l'chaver, ben ish le'ishto, all the real loves which really are available, real pure love. You know that you can know that someone loves you, and you have the dot that someone loves you, and yet it remains the biggest mystery in the world. Knowing that God has loved us is a very, very, very tricky thing. Because you can take that beautiful gift and not do anything with it, but walk around and say, God loves you. And there are, it's funny, I had a whole conversation with someone, I think this morning, maybe yesterday, about this, that there are a lot of statements that we refrain from saying because other chaverim from other religions took it, and when they've used it so much that they've squeezed the chiyus out of it, they squeezed the life, the vitality out of the possible. For instance, God loves you. Sounds very Yiddish, right? No, it sounds like a Sunday morning schmooze, and you know it, right? God, what is God, when they say God loves you, what is that? And therefore, when we say, like, and I'm reminded, again, I have this image in my heart forever, it's etched in me forever, that Kala, the Kala of Am Yisrael, the Kala, the Shechina who showed us what it means to be a Baalas Amuna, the daughter of Rabbi Yaakov Littman, who was killed and on the way to the Shabbos Kala, the wedding that took place in Binyanei Ha'omah a few months ago. When the Kala got up on her friend's shoulders right before the Badeka and waiting for her chassan, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Anachnu Ohavim Otcha. By us Yidden, we're not so stuck upon God loves me. What are we really blown over? What's the mystery of all mysteries? We love you, and we know it's true, and it remains the greatest mystery in the world. I can't understand. 6 million are put into ovens, and I still love you. What is going on? I know that I love you. How could this be? Because it's not that. It's keter. It's keter. It will never. It's not meant to make sense. It's meant to remain a mystery. That's in its tachlis. That's what it's meant to be. This love which exists with us and Hashem, it's meant to remain a mystery. Like Shlomo always said, the worst thing a husband can say about a wife, or a wife about a husband, is that I know them like an open book. You think that's the most beautiful thing to say, to show how close you are to each other. Shlomo says, if you know someone like an open book, you know what happens? When you finish the book, you close it, weiter, you either exchange it for secondhand or something, right? Or you buy a new book. I have to tell you, there's a film, there's a oh my God. This moment touched me so deep. One of our chaverim that learns with us online for quite a while now is a very special friend of mine who lives out in America somewhere, and he's a writer for one of the most popular TV shows in America. This is not my chaver David Sachs that I've mentioned many times, although I met this guy through him. So he came to his first shir. It was somewhere in America, and he bought an Even Shlomo Chelik Aleph. It was the last parsha. It was Toldos, I think, because it goes until Toldos. So he called me up the next day, or he emailed me. He said, "I really want to meet with you." I said, "Beautiful. I'll be here for another day." We met at a coffee place, at a cafe the next day, and he said to me, "I have to tell you something. There's a teaching I opened up when I got home from that evening. It says, Eila Toldos Yitzchak ben Avram Holidis Yitzchak." Shlomo says, why does the Torah go into such a great length to tell us this is the offsprings of Abraham and the offsprings of Yitzchak, the son of Abraham? Abraham gave birth, begot Yitzchak. It says, because if you ask Avram Avinu, who is your son? All he could really say is, well, I know that this is my son Yitzchak. Who is he? I have no idea. And if you ask Yitzchak, who's your father? I can say this is my father. More than that, I can't tell you. It's a mystery, it's a secret. He said, I realized that up until now, this person said to me, it freaked me out that I know who my son is, but I don't really know who he is. And now I feel like it's the greatest privilege to not put him in the da'at box of I know who he is, I know this is what he does, I know this is what he doesn't do. So I have to give you some nachas because this blew my mind. As high as that, what I just told you was, our oldest daughter, she's writing a lot, reading and writing nonstop. She's reading nonstop, it's amazing. And the other night, she was working on something in her room for a long time. She finally comes out, she gives me a piece of paper. And her aunt and uncle are in the room now, so they'll get a lot of nachas about this too. My tiferet, she gives us a piece of paper, and she writes, Abba sheli chazak meod. Abba sheli chacham meod. And then she writes, Abba sheli hu sod. So I was like, oh no, this is happening too early for you to start. She's 6. So she's in first grade. So I said to her, Tiffy, what did you mean? She said, simple. Abba Shali was sod. So I didn't ask one more question. I let it go, but that piece of paper is by my bed now. So it's my Kriyas Shema Shalamita, and it's my Moeda Ani in the morning. It's absolutely everything. But what's up? What is that? That place is hopefully that's Nasa V'Nishma, meaning I know you're my daughter, but I'm going to listen to what you're telling me the rest of my life to understand who you are. If she just told me, this is who you are, you're this, you're that, you're that, so it's knowledge, thank you, this is what you think of me, but it hit me in such an infinite way. And this is really cutting through the whole point of Matan Torah. Before I continue, I'm sorry, I didn't forget you.
It's interesting, it relates to something else that Shlomo writes somewhere.
Yeah.
That Har Sinai, Har Sinai, where we got the Torah, and instead of like, it's forever, but he compares it to Yerushalayim. And Yerushalayim is so mysterious. It was built and the Beit Midrash built and destroyed 2 times, and we're still coming back all the time. Like such a big mystery. Like
Yerushalayim is keta, mamish. It's such keta. It's such Nasa V'Nishma. Yeah, like okay, we're here, we're rebuilding, but I still don't understand anything that's going on over here. Absolutely true. Let's go back inside, Chavrim. Whom do you truly honor? Second to bottom paragraph. Whom do you truly give cover to? Whom do you truly honor? You give honor to those who you know are so much more than you'll ever know about them. This piece is amazing. You already just said. So really, the whole idea of giving cover, who do you give cover to? You don't give cover to somebody who you think that what you see is what you get. You give cover to someone that when it's clear to you that what you see, it is so much greater than what you're capable of seeing. So I know where most of our eyes are going now. We're thinking of what? All the biggest rabbis we know and the greatest rabbis. Why do we think that we even know each other? Right now in this room, why do we assume? Why did our minds? I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't know, but I have a feeling that it's a lot of people. Oh, who do I respect? Which Rav? I really look at him and I'm like, wow, he's much greater. As if we know each other like an inside out. So because we think we do, we don't really give each other cover. And now where are we going to go with this Torah? We think when we know ourselves, so do we honor ourselves? No, because I know how dark I am. Or I know how limited I am. So I don't end up giving myself covered either. Holy covered, I mean, like kavod elokim, like if Nachman speaks about Torah. Real emes like a covered, honoring. What does it mean to honor yourself as a Jew in today's day and age? As a nation, are we honoring ourselves? Hashem yirachem. Hashem yirachem. Again, whom do you truly honor? You give honor to those who you know are so much more than you'll ever know about them. I can be a great scientist and know exactly how human beings are created. What can I do with that knowledge? I can explain it to someone else, but that's it. My knowledge will not bring peace to the world. Crown knowledge, because Baruch Hashem, look at you ever realize how what we have with Egypt and Jordan is mamish crown knowledge, right? I'm kidding, obviously, right? It's not even mind knowledge. It's mind delusion, maybe, but it's nothing to do with, anything that has to do with crown. Real peace, which Shlomo says, won't be brought through mind knowledge. Crown knowledge is the knowledge that will bring peace to the world because I only hate based on what I think I know. When we Jews left Egypt, oh, by the way, this connects so deep to what we learned here in Parshas Bo, that the whole point of Yetzias Mitzrayim was freeing ourselves from what? Remember the Torah we learned? It was freeing our concept of God. It was freeing ourselves from the belief that we had in God. It freed ourselves from all the preconceived notions of who God is, how much He loves me, how much He doesn't love me. And that's an avodah we're still working on today on a daily basis. We think because of Torah we learned, or it was taught to us, that we know when God is angry at us and we know when God is happy with us. We know when God is disgusted with us, and Are you God? Only God knows. The whole inyan of Yetzias Mitzrayim was to free ourselves from the slavery of the God knowledge of our concept of Hashem, which is still very much in Galus, which Rav Kook explains beautifully. Eretz Yisrael could not have been rebuilt again in its roots from people who had an exiled state of mind when it came to God consciousness in the world. So who ended up building it? People that had zero God consciousness in the world, so to speak, right? Because they don't even get stuck in the whole exiled concept of God. I know we're going completely off track now, but it's very important to understand this. Does that make sense to anybody? Mm-hmm. Rav Kook says, who had to build Eretz Yisrael? People that weren't stuck in a frum scrambled eggs situation in their mind. People that they're not even in the parsha. They don't know eggs exist. They don't know the pan exists. It had to be rebuilt again from people. People that didn't get stuck in a pagan and exiled and finite God consciousness in the world. It's something that we're still working on we always say everything is Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim. Why? Because when we got out of Egypt, we were finally free enough to be open to the notion that I know nothing about Hashem. And it's the greatest place in the world to be at. That's what I became free of. Go tell it to someone that learns for 12 hours a day, and that after he learns for 12 hours a day, das elokim, God knowledge, to tell him, you absolutely know nothing about God. You know what the real learner will say when you tell him that? You know how he'll respond? He'll say, tell me something I don't know. Right? But so you know it, so you have a nut, yeah. So you have a nut, it's a whole knowledge game. The real learner, Reb Shlomo says, that could spend 3 weeks on a Gemara Rashi, 3 weeks on a Tosfos, looking at it from every single corner and direction, flipping it over, thinking about it at night. And then when he finishes and he solves a really difficult Tosfos, closes the Gemara and says, wow, this was so awesome, and I still feel like I have no idea what it really says. Biology, chemistry books, it doesn't work like that. You don't spend 3 weeks trying to figure out one of the chapters on the civilization of the Mohicans, right? And then say what? Wow, and mamish have no idea what they're all about. No, you do. You kind of do. God knowledge is something else. It's the mystery, and it's meant to be that. It's meant to be like that. Okay, let's finish this piece up. When we Jews left Egypt, we became free again. The world thinks freedom is a mind thing. The world understands freedom to mean you don't have to do anything that someone is telling you to do, right? For us, freedom is expressed by the crowns we adorn. Meaning that what? I'm free enough to what? Not need to know something in order to be in love with it. I'm free enough from my thoughts. My thoughts are not what are controlling the way I feel. My thoughts are not controlling the way I feel. We have some holy therapists in the room. We're all therapists. This is really what it's about. This crown knowledge. And this is what God told us when he took us out of Egypt. I want you to be a kingdom of kings, of priests. A king wears a crown. A priest wears a crown. It's time to place the crown back onto the world. This happens in our Parsha. Even though we were told last Shabbos, I think that we were told last Shabbos, it was Gimel Sivan, Yom HaMeyuchas, and then Dalet Sivan, according to most of the Mefarshim, is the next day where we say Nasa and Ishma. According to some of the posting, according to others, it was after Matan Torah. But again, that's not important right now. This piece, this short, this is usually we're here sometimes we do 3 or 4 pages of Reb Shlomo. This condensed, this small little piece, which Be'ezer Hashem gives a bracha, will be shared with the whole world by next round of Shmos. This piece can liberate, can absolutely liberate us from in every avenue of our lives. Now, I told you before that the point, unfortunately, we're not going to have time for this crazy piece in Neshilach, but please, let's find time to learn this piece as well. I don't know if I would say learn this on your own, because it's one of these pieces where you could really end up in the wrong place if you don't learn it with someone. So, but the point is, like I said before, the point of tonight is that we walk home with crowns on our heads, that we go into Shabbos Mishpatim, and then when we read about Nasa v'Nishma, that's a real thing. And we said we're going to learn this for the sake of Am Yisrael. So I don't want to put anyone on the spot, and there's probably not a wrong answer to the following question. Can anyone explain to me what it would mean for them to walk home right now with a crown on their head? What that means? Where in their life that means? What does that mean? In their Yiddishkeit, in their Torah and mitzvahs? What does that mean? Because if we just learned right now a nice idea, and Shabbos will be a nice idea too, and the Torah learning will be a nice idea, but we have to right now try somehow to figure out, how do I take this right now and accept the mysteries that are in my life and find a way to detect what in my life is mind knowledge and what in my life is crown knowledge. Are we determined to look at the loves that we have in our life and admit, I'm married to you for 3 years, 2 months, 30 years, 50 years, and I embrace the not knowing? Or do I say, I wish I could say I don't know who you are? So is there anyone in any Baruch Hashem, it's I could, on a neshama level, I feel like every single person was really with every word we said right now. But there's got to be, I'm not letting anyone out of here until we get a little bit of understanding. What does this mean? Tachlis, to walk out of here with a crown. What meaning, what is it, what would it mean today? Would you say Nasa v'nishma today to Hashem?
To me, it's a direct channel. It's a funneling. It's a direct funnel.
What's a direct funnel?
If the crown is on my head, I have a direct funnel now.
Correct. What does that mean to you in your life, though? What about your life has now become crowned? You're right. It is the most direct of Kupreit and Orsa Tshuva. This funnel, this sinor, this is the gateway for Dat and Ratzon to be one. That where knowledge and will are one. That I actually know exactly what I want in this world. It is the most powerful funnel. But what does it, L'maisa, do in our lives? What's it?
I would say a clarification in my not choosing to be confused anymore. Like you were saying, not choosing to say, oh, I don't really know. Like truly davening for and believing in and knowing that actually I'm capable of having that. I'm capable of walking with that. And that when I'm engaging with people in a way of mind knowledge, being able to clarify it for myself and for others so that we're able to uplift each other and return to a place where we're really talking about engaging in what really we're supposed, what's important, what matters, what's real.
That's amazing.
An acceptance.
Thank you. Sorry.
An acceptance that I'm not the one that's in control. That I can't put it in words.
That's very good. Yeah.
Be like your daughter. Like when you're young, you have all this exciting wonder about the world, and if we think we know, we don't know. But to have you could be like a child again, to see things with new eyes. That's like a crown.
Yeah, children don't need to understand everything. They believe in fairy tales. That's what we have to. We have to believe in. That anything can happen.
Right. Not necessarily fairy tales, but in the notion of.
That's the wrong
Right. No, I know what you mean.
word.
But in the notion of things can happen all the time that we never dreamt of.
It's so strange with all the things that are happening, the killings and everything, that we never fear that in the end it will not turn out good. I think all of us, we are very convinced that in the end we will be survivors and conquerors.
And that doesn't make any sense. That's a mystery.
It doesn't make any sense, but
That doesn't make any. What you just said
we don't
is so true, and I have to tell you, it makes zero sense.
I know.
Usually you tell someone, tell a student in a class, what you said right now makes no sense. They freak out. Here, it's like, yes, it makes
It is.
It makes no sense.
None of us
Absolutely.
doubt
No. It's the highest what you're saying. Mysteries don't make sense. Yes.
I think that it's a good symbolization of balance. Like how Judaism teaches that our feet need to be grounded in this world, but our head can be wherever we want. It's kind of a physical symbol or imaginary.
Right.
Having something that's physically touching you, as well as an open space. That's like the direct.
Oh, the crown you mean.
Yeah, the crown. Yeah.
Say that again. That's very special.
So,
Say that again.
Yeah. So the crown itself symbolizes balance and the ability to keep us in this world while having an open space for whatever we don't know, the unknown.
You connect that to like a spiral. Like in terms, we all get stuck in our own studio. We get in this world and ourselves and our personalities.
But really, the concept of Keter could be compared to a spiral where, yes, we have these borders of, we have these things in the Torah, we have halacha, which is most important, but at the same time, to get out of ourselves, we have to go above, like, not to go out of halacha, but to go more, in a sense, more into it and keep going up.
As long as you don't cover that.
As long as you don't go outside of that.
Or as long as you don't ever close up the space. It's
Right.
both. It's It's the
So together, it's like a boundary, but it's also a roadway.
Right, like more of
Right.
not as much of a boundary as a balancing act. That it's
Right.
like the space between.
Yeah. Thank you.
When I think that I know, then I can think that I'm in charge, that I control. Knowledge is power. If I have the knowledge, I think that I'm the center of the earth.
Right.
That I'm God, in a sense. In that sense of being in charge. But when I don't know, I know that it's something beyond me that I can never understand. That it humbles me. But don't it?
It's an act of shiftless, not humility like you're being humiliated, but shiftless in a way of being humbled to in such an inviting way. It's what you want. Is that your neshama? We think that for self-esteem we need to be praised. That's what we really want, and it's not true. What our neshamas really long for is to be humbled, a humbled spirit, ruach shveila. A humble spirit is a gentle spirit. It's a ruach adina. That's really what we want. And you can't, like we said right now, it's so perfect. You cannot have a humble, gentle spirit with the control button. It just will never work. It'll never work. Yes.
Also on the national level,
Ah,
we always think.
Let's go for this. Yes,
We
on a
always
national
think in
level.
a way that we've got things kind of under control. We learn that we have to do that also. But maybe also like if we realize, just like you said, on an individual level, that we don't really know our own potential. We don't know who's this person I'm living with, or who is this other person that I'm a father. But also, if we say, I don't even know what level Am Yisrael is capable of being, according to prophets, and then to say, okay, so to release, they're trying to control. I know how to take care of this country. I know what we're doing stuff, and that release, maybe we reach,
As
these that we haven't reached.
Wow. So we'll end with a very strong mamish on the heels of what you're saying. The Shlomo once quoted the Rambam in the Yad HaChazak. The Rambam says that when a person is asked if they believe in becoming the Mashiach, and you say yes, and then you say, well, how is he going to come? And you say, I have no idea. It means you don't really believe in Mashiach when it comes to Mashiach. And you go, wait a second, didn't that would make perfect sense according to what we learned right now, right?
Yeah.
Saying no. Saying when it comes to the when it comes to it's true. I don't know exactly how he's going to be coming. I'm not sure exactly how Mashiach is going to be coming. The one thing I do know that Shlomo says, this is so crucial to remember. When you're asked, how will Mashiach come? You have to say, I don't know, but I believe. When I say I believe in the coming of Mashiach, it means that I believe that Am Yisrael has the power to bring in Mashiach. But he said, Emunah b'vias Mashiach, he emunah b'gedushas Am Yisrael. That's what Reb Shlomo said. How? I don't know. Keter. Mystery. I have no idea. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things today. When you look at Am Yisrael, to hold on to, believing in Mashiach, alavai, say there. Believing that Am Yisrael has the power to bring Mashiach? What a mystery. What a nasa v'nishma mystery. Shkoyach, everyone. Thank you very, very much for coming. We'll be meeting again, Be'ezrat Hashem, next Wednesday night as well, but every single day here at 12:30 is Shiurim of Reb Shlomo's Torah. A lot more happening all the time, but let's keep it going very strong. Thank you so much for coming, everyone.